Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Kelly. Welcome to Be in the Change. I'm going to get started by reciting my inspiration. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, which most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Marianne Williamson. I'd like to say welcome to everybody who's watching me for the first time, and thank you, and welcome back, and thank you to everybody who's been following me on this journey, where I started in 2019 stating out loud I was breaking up with fear, I was breaking up with shame, and I was breaking up with guilt, followed by a weekly video every week for my New Year's resolution, which I have been going strong since 2019. And also last year was to be kinder and more compassionate to myself and others. And this year has been to break up with sugar, which I am still off of processed sugar. But I want sugar so bad, you guys. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to last with this. I keep thinking it's given me a lot of benefits not having processed sugar, like enough to keep going, but I thought I would have more by now. I thought, I should have felt good right away, which everything I think that I do, I should get the benefits and the rewards immediately. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. So I was talking last week about the recipe for success for me has been accountability, support, and speaking out loud. And those three things, which are so important, have helped me stay consistent, be consistent, and keep showing up for my life. And I'm in multiple 12-step programs, and that is my support and my accountability. And then the speaking out loud are these videos. And last week I was telling you how the screw you, watch me has taken me very far, but I couldn't stay consistent with that. It gives you a lot of steam in the beginning and then kind of all downhill after. So I've had to work this out my entire life. I've been working on this, and I wanted to tell you guys, last week I was talking about, one of the reasons why I was able to speak out loud is because my son Angelo said I wasn't good enough to have haters. And that was like, I want haters, and that helped get me started. But actually, this process started for me way before that, the speaking out loud. I went on a spiritual retreat back in, I'm gonna say like 2013. And I went on this spiritual retreat, and I honestly, we meditated a couple of times. A couple of things happened on this retreat. We were in one meditation and I saw colors, and I never ever saw colors during a meditation. I saw purple and I saw green, and that was like, oh my God, I've never had that happen before. And then we did another activity, and they gave everybody cards, and they were playing cards, and the playing cards had pictures on them. And I had a glove, I had a kite, and I had a record on mine, and you had to pick one object and talk about it. And I'm like, music. I love music. Music makes me so happy. So that weekend, I meditated and saw colors. I thought of my grandfather, who we used to listen to country music together all the time. He loved Kenny Rogers, and he had a mad crush on Olivia Newton-John. So I thought of my grandfather that weekend. I saw colors and I got a playing card and said I loved music. And that was it. That was my weekend. And 2 weeks later, I was in my apartment and my neck and back were hurting so bad. And this was before my last car accident, but I was in so much pain and I was listening to the radio and I'm like, God, I wish I could do something with country music. And that's all I said. But I said it out loud. And 2 weeks later, I wrote a song. And I never wrote anything in my life. I could barely write a grocery list. I had a really hard time in school with reading and comprehension. And I thought reading and writing went together. And because I wasn't good at reading, I automatically assumed I wasn't good with writing either. So I grew up believing that I wasn't smart, that I was stupid. And what I found out is, 2 weeks after I said, I wish I could do something with country music, I wrote my first song. And of course it was back at somebody else. I was listening to a song called Ain't Worth the Whiskey. It's by Cole Swindell. If anybody knows of him, he's a big country artist. And I was like, God damn it, I'm worth whiskey. I don't even drink, which is so funny. So I wrote a response to Cole Swindell's Ain't Worth the Whiskey, proving how I'm worth whiskey, even though I don't drink it, because the fuck you watch me kicked in. And I put it in a drawer. I didn't tell anybody for weeks what I did. And then I was out with a few girlfriends and I said, I wrote a song. And they're like, we want to see it. And then my girlfriends are like, you need to do something with this. And I'm like, you think so? And they're like, yeah. So I knew nobody in the music business. I don't sing. I don't play an instrument. I didn't even know where to begin. And I got my song recorded. And it took 5 months. And it turned out awesome. Like awesome. I was so happy and so excited. I was calling down to Nashville telling everybody I wrote a song. Nobody gives a shit. And I was so proud of myself because I never did anything like this before and I never knew I could. And so anyway, I called every single restaurant that played country music until finally Texas Roadhouse said yes. And they put it in 437 restaurants. And it's called Hey Cole Swindell, So Worth the Whiskey. Cole Swindell never acknowledged my song. He didn't care, which is fine. And it was so funny because I thought I'm going to be rich and famous and live happily ever after. And that didn't happen. And as the process has been going on, I was in the process of getting divorced and I was already, I don't know if I was already divorced yet, but I remember being with girlfriends in a book club and I was dating a guy and every time I went there, they're like, does he blow your hair back? And I'm like, yes, he blows my hair back. And then, of course, that relationship did not work out. But fast forward, after the song, years later, nothing really came of it. And I was still okay with that. My son and I went for a hike and we were coming home from Valley Forge Park. It's in Pennsylvania, and he had a Jeep and we took the top off. It was the first time we ever took the top off. And we were coming home and I could feel the wind in my hair. And I'm like, this blows my hair back. Like freedom. I felt free. And then I started to cry. And I'm like, it was never about the song. And I realized in that moment that that song was the beginning of me getting my voice back. That song was about me being able to speak up for myself. That song was me believing and knowing that I'm smart. I figured out how to do something that I never had any experience with and had nowhere to begin. And I was able to do that. And then I remember calling my brother and I'm like, I wrote a song and I played it for him. And he's like, oh my God, Michelle, how did you do that? And I'm like, it took me 5 months. And he was married at the time and let me know that somebody he knew was in the music business for 10 years and they didn't even come across or have anything happen like that to them yet, which I didn't know because this was new for me. And I don't know what the process is like when I've never been in it. So that was the beginning of me getting my voice back to speak out to all of you. And it was never about the song. It was never about the music, but it is all about the music because it was bringing me back to myself. And thank you to everybody who's watching. Please stay tuned. Please stay safe, and I will see you all next week.